They put the training facilities right next to the train track. I just get wound up over it because they're gonna start ovening people. They're gonna start putting people in ovens. They're gonna start putting people in fucking ovens. You guys, it is that bad. I'm not overreacting. I wish that I had not been written off as some sort of a crackpot for years. I wish I had blown off all those imbeciles who were trying to tell me that I was wrong for saying things like this. But the reality is, they're going to be using ovens to burn people. Okay? They're going to do that shit. They wouldn't have built those ovens otherwise. Why would you build an oven otherwise? It's a training facility. Okay, well, it's a training facility with huge burners and massive chambers full of gas that they force through there and make it go to like 3,000 degrees and burn everything inside of it to a cinder. Oh, you don't see those around? You don't know what I'm talking about? That's okay. Hey, maybe I'm just a conspiracy theorist. But if I'm not just a conspiracy theorist, if I'm actually right about this, then we'll see the fire department work directly with the fascists to push people into those training facilities, because there are ovens all over this country. There are ovens all over this country. Wherever you're watching from right now, there's an oven there. And I'll tell you what, you might think it's a training facility, but when all of the police went full fascist and came out with their thin blue line and said, "We kneel on the necks of black people and murder them," the police started putting, the fire department started putting those thin blue lines on their shit. Because the fire department is just as fascistic, just as racist as the pigs, as the feds. They're all the same men. They're all these Klansmen, Nazis, who have been weaseling their way into positions of authority so that they could do the most horrific things you've ever imagined. And they have accomplices on both sides of the aisle. To be really clear about that. You can't train a Nazi out of being a Nazi. If you put a body camera on a Nazi, they're just a Nazi with a body camera. The government's trying to act like, oh, we just need to give them better training. It's a training issue. They just don't know any better than to violate the Constitution and murder people. It's a training issue. It's a training issue. It's just a training issue. It's not to do with intentional fascistic desire to murder that they have explicitly been calling for years. It's not that. It's a training issue. So we've got a lot of stuff to deal with, you guys. We've got a lot of stuff to deal with. And you know what? For me, I'm having a hard time just coping. If I'm being really honest with you guys, I'm having a hard time just coping with some basic bullshit. Just the basic bullshit is being difficult for me. So you know, I have family that are immigrants. I have family. My aunts, my cousins, my nephews, my nieces, they're not from here. They're from somewhere else. And I love them. I'll fight for them. I don't give a shit. I will fucking fight you for my family. And you know what? I'll fight for someone who I don't even know. Because I'm that kind of a person who can tell the difference between right and wrong. And I firmly believe that everybody can. All of these ICE agents, They know what they're doing is wrong. When they look in the mirror at night, they have to be the person who they are, and they have to be alone with themselves. That quiet voice inside of them lets them know that they're wrong. Everybody has that voice of ethic or moral. We all have inside of us that little voice that as children, it was easy to listen to. If we were doing something wrong, that voice inside of our head, we could hear it. We knew that it was wrong. That's why they wrote that book, Everything I Needed to Know I Learned in Kindergarten. It's because it's easy to be a good person. All you have to do is listen to that voice that says, don't be a piece of shit. And it's the loudest voice in your head. It's the loudest voice in your head is the voice telling you not to be a terrible person. So, these fascists know what they're doing is wrong. And every day they have to live with that fact. And now today, school kids across the country walked out of class. All across the country, school children. Again, they have that voice in their head that says, this is right, this is wrong, this is okay, that's not okay. Just like all the rest of us, they have that little voice that says, don't be a terrible person. And so they're walking out of school and they're working to protect their family. They're working to protect their neighbors. They're working to protect people who are vulnerable because they don't want to see terrible things happen in the world. And you know what? I just had like this revelation for me this morning. It took years for Germany to get rid of the Nazis. It took years and years and years for Germany to get rid of all of those Nazis. And after a certain point, it was the school children who were children under Nazism who took those Nazis to court and made sure they had their executions. So all these kids that you see marching today, all these kids out doing marches saying we won't stand for it, in a few years when they're adults, they're going to be hunting down these Nazis. They're going to be holding them accountable for the shit that they're doing. We need to make sure they can. We need to absolutely make sure that the young people today have the authority and the power to hold Nazis accountable. We can't let the fascists win. So, I got a lot of opinions. I've been holding it inside. I got a lot I need to say. I've been trying to be rational and calm about it. But things are pretty fucked up right now. And we need to all do what we can to make things better. And for me, all I can do is use my voice. I don't have a lot of power and authority. I don't have a lot of money. I don't have resources. All I have is the gray matter between my ears that says this isn't right. And when something isn't right, we do something about it. So I got to let you guys go. If you appreciate what I'm talking about, if it's easy for you, I really need support right now. I have a subscriber page here. It's only $4.99 a month to subscribe to my baloney. And if you guys subscribe, it's going to make it a lot easier for me to keep doing this kind of work. I have a Patreon. If you subscribe to my Patreon, I'm going to be able to keep doing this kind of thing. But I'll tell you what, you guys, I am so poor right now. I'm as poor as I've ever been. I'm in debt. So I got to figure stuff out myself, which makes it a lot harder to figure out what I can do to stand up against fascism. But, for now, it's my voice. I can just say stuff, post my feelings, have opinions.